does. Well, thanks everyone for joining me. Again, my name is Morgan Boyd. I'm the San Luis Obispo County Veteran Services Officer. I've got quite a few interesting things to talk about today, and I'm really excited, and I appreciate Madison for extending the invitation to allow me to speak today. So a quick table of content for what I'm going to speak to you all today about. I'm going to speak a little bit about why I'm here and why I do the work that I specifically do. I'll provide an overview of the San Luis Obispo County Veteran Services Office. I'll do a rundown, a very basic rundown of veterans benefits that we work through. And then we'll discuss a little bit about veteran business development. We'll lead into some community engagement, how we work with our community partners. And then I thought it'd be good to kind of touch on my leadership philosophy and how and why I work the way I do. So moving right into it. All right, so why am I specifically here? So I served 12 and a half years in the United States Army. I started out as a private first class, joining the Army on September 3rd of 2001, left for basic training on September 17, 2001. And a little bit over a year and a half later, I found myself invading Iraq as a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout reconnaissance trooper. We spent most of our time in Fallujah, Ramadi, and all those beautiful places. It was a challenging deployment. I came back, I became an Army instructor, and made the rank of Staff Sergeant and decided to go green to gold and become an officer. From there, I deployed with a small reconnaissance, surveillance, and target acquisition platoon to Afghanistan. That was a very difficult deployment. My unit, the 5th Stryker Brigade, has the unfortunate record of having the most casualties out of any unit that deployed to Afghanistan. My platoon itself lost 7 total, 5 soldiers and 2 translators. I got injured in an IED explosion there. I hid it for a few years, and then I finished my command time in 2012, and I was looking to get my injury looked at, and the Army decided to medically retire me on it after 12 and a half years. So that was a big challenge for me personally. It was kind of a, like many of us that leave the service, we have to reinvent ourselves. And that was challenging, but I ended up here, and now I get to serve my community and pay it forward much to the same way that I was doing in my military service. I can tell you one thing: I don't do this for the pay. I don't do this for the restful nights and long weekends I get. I work, I feel like, all the time, but that's okay because it's not about me. It's about our brothers and sisters in our community. So to have this position, you must be a veteran. And there is wide variance across counties, okay? So a good example is my great counterpart in Santa Barbara County. she's essentially a program manager and she does great work, but she functions as a program manager. I happen to be a department head at the county. I'm appointed by the Board of Supervisors. So I manage my own budget, all my own hiring and firing. I work my own grant programs. I get to this county allows me amazing flexibility in what I get to do as a county veteran services officer. And I'm extremely grateful for that. We've got a great veteran community. So our organization, this is my favorite part because I get to brag on my team. That's our team down in the lower right there. We're a team of 10, 9 full-time staff, and 1 student intern who we respectfully call our office spirit animal. He is an amazing person, but that's us on a tour at Diablo. We go out there from time to time. Fun fact, there's more veterans working out of Diablo than anywhere else in the county. So it's a great place for us to go and engage that veteran community. So I have 4 veteran services representatives. I have 1 outreach coordinator, an administrative services officer, myself, and the student intern. We're nationally accredited to file claims through the VA to file claims on behalf of veterans. That's through CalVet, but we also have a National Association accreditation. We hold the American Legion's accreditation, the DAV's accreditation, and the VFW. So literally any accrediting body that you could possibly go seek benefits for, we hold that accreditation. So there's really no excuses why not to go through our office. We are 100% free. The only thing we ever ask for is your time, respect, and honesty. we have a professional organization called the California Association of County Veteran Services Officers. They run training, mentorship, collaboration, and I happen to be the first vice president of that association for our state. It is a role that I have a lot of pride in. We are working a lot legislatively to make some big changes in the state. One of the biggest ones is we're one of the few states where your retired pay is taxed, which is kind of insane to me when the precedent across the country is your retirement pay as a veteran is not taxed. So we're working on passing that legislation, and that'll help a lot, hopefully keep a lot of retired service members here. Because as I'll talk about later, like veterans, they can be seen in really two camps. They can be seen as a tremendous asset to our community, or, and we often see it the other way, they can be kind of seen as a burden. Although we want to help them and respect them, they are taking resources instead of providing resources back into the community. So we absolutely work on the latter half, but you'll see in a little bit that I really push towards the front half. That's maintaining yourself, building your communities, and living a strong and resilient life. We have locations spread out throughout the county, the Oro Grande Library here in San Luis Obispo, the SLO Veterans Memorial Building, and at the Paso Robles Veterans Hall. So this is our operational picture last year. We filed 8,353 claims in this county, about 90% of all claims filed in the county. We held 5,832 appointments. 2,812 of those were in person. That's for 4 reps. They carry a really heavy workload and they work really fast. Great news, we were projected, last year we brought in $9.5 million in new benefits into the county. We were projected to bring in 10, and we smashed our expectations. We brought in 12.5 million in new awards to the community and surpassed right around, it's kind of hard for us to get the exact number, but we're right around 110 million for what we bring in annually to the community. Now, VA research indicates that every VA dollar that comes into the community provides a 5-time economic driver. So we like to say that we're driving over $500 million through the economy every year. And we are tremendously proud of that because that's money that goes directly into the pockets of our veterans. And that money happens to be tax-free when it's your service-connected compensation benefits. So that is a great amount of money that supports our veterans and thus our greater community here in San Luis Obispo. Really great thing, something I love to talk about, our client satisfaction. So we had 305 survey responses. Every single client that engages with us gets a request to fill out the survey. We only got 305 of them, but we got 98% client, it's actually 98.1% client satisfaction with our veteran services representatives. That tells me that our team is really knocking it out of the park. We did get an 86% client satisfaction with our facilities, and I don't blame them. Our office in Arroyo Grande is literally an old utility closet. We have to meet our veterans where we're at. I don't care. During COVID, we literally moved the table outside because our offices were shut down. They did say it's nothing about conducting business outside. So in the rain, we set up canopies. It did not matter. We were outside because the needs of our veterans didn't stop. So we personally don't care about our facilities, even though we do try and keep it up as nice as we can. But it is aging. Some really good news, however, is that the county decided to fund a new office in the Arroyo Grande Library extension. That project will start next year. So we'll have better than any office that we currently have, way better than my current office. And the rep that's sitting in there, she's been doing it for 35 years, so I'm more than happy for her to have that space. And then our office is what it is. Well, we're hoping to expand at some point, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then we're working on finalizing a deal with the VA to put a new clinic up in Paso Robles, which is a huge deal. And then we will co-locate one of our veteran services representatives in that VA clinic. It just helps with more continuity of care and support. You'll see up there, I've been in this role for 4 years. We have been fortunate enough that the community has deemed that we are the best veteran support organization in the county 3 out of our 4 years. I'm not bitter or anything, but the people that won it last year, they went on a campaign to have their very small organization that does not do all that much with veterans, and they got it. So that's okay. We're not bitter. We only brought the wall that heals, the Vietnam Veteran Memorial Wall that year, and did a bunch of great things for the community, but the organization that serves one dinner a year got the award. Anyways, we're working on our facilities the best we can. I have one of the smallest budgets in the county. You see, we brought in 12.5 million. Okay, so my budget from the county is $700,000 a year. With the grants and other programs we're running and some state aid, we're right at $1 million. So find me another organization in the county that has a better ROI than $1 million workload with $12 million in output, 12.5 million in output. We're extremely proud of that. We get audited every 6 months by the state. We are scrutinized in extreme detail, and I'm very happy that that happened. I'll talk about that more in a little bit. We've now passed 8 audits with no auditable mistakes. We hold the record in the state. And we are extremely proud of that fact that we're not making mistakes. That wasn't the case in the past. So we'll talk about program development. You see up there, my start date as a County Veteran Services Officer was March 16, 20. It says 2024. Obviously not. 2020. That was the start date of COVID lockdowns. Things were a complete mess in the office. The team was a mess. And I really had to get to work quick, and I had to really build this team. My team didn't talk to me for the first 2 weeks, other than like mandatory meetings and stuff like that, because they thought I was like the old guy, right? So it didn't take long to figure out who to get on the bus and who to kind of point some energy towards and uplift. And I'm the only person in the county that hasn't had a vacancy in like 2 years. We have no vacancy rate. When we do have applications for similar jobs, the county other departments will get like 5 applications, we'll get like 55. Because I think that people know how we work and how we take care of each other as a team. It goes swimmingly. Not that conflict doesn't arise, it arises all the time. We just sit and talk about it as a team, and we get over that conflict, and we figure out how to make ourselves better in the process. Some of the process improvements, I faced some significant claims challenges when I first came in. And what I mean by that is military sexual trauma, right, is something that happens more than is even, it happens way too much. And so when a client or a veteran comes in and trusts their personal story with us to file a claim on their behalf so that they can then get some compensation benefits for it, it is our duty and obligation to make sure that that claim is filed correctly every step of the way. And there's a long process in how we work a claim. One of my first cases was a young woman who had her claim not filed, and she was an MST. And it was completely our fault. The VA doesn't care if it's our fault, by the way. The veteran just gets left out. But what I ended up doing is I put it on appeal, and next month I actually have a hearing with the Board of Veteran Appeals to try to convince the judge to grant her earlier back date, which she absolutely deserves, and hopefully just let us understand that representative, when she was working those claims, she was doing a lot of things that were not in keeping with kind of the ethic of how we operate. And I ended up relieving her after a few months. It was I want to say it was a hard thing to do, but it was not a hard thing to do, because again, it's not even about my team at the end of the day. It's about our veterans and their families. Document management was an absolute mess. We get a lot of military records, a lot of medical records dropped off, and these drop-off ledgers and these other work queues that the representatives are supposed to answer, they weren't being answered for like a month at times. And so, it's real quick policy changes. You just redraft a policy that you will not be without a 5-day window of compliance for these responses. And there was some groaning and moaning, but they get plenty of administrative time to get these tasks done. So I just said, well, listen, if you can't get this done, then I'll just take away your administrative time. We'll just add more appointments. And they quickly changed, and they're more than happy to do it now. Appointment scheduling used to be only in person. Luckily, it was kind of a big change. It came down through the VA and then funneled down through California, in that we can do online appointments or phone appointments. So that really helps with digital signatures. It really helped us out a lot. So now we do a lot of hybrid appointments. And then hybrid work, something that was complete. I didn't even know this was a thing, back in 2020. And now it is the way of life. We all, my reps, they get a day at home every day, or every week. They work at home one day. They're set up for remote work, which is kind of nice, because in the event of another disaster where we do have to shut down and kind of go away from our office, we can set up our system so that we can all continue to work remotely and get the job done. So that works out really well. Some program improvements. We worked and we got ourselves, we already had one, but the funding was going away. And that person actually left when I took my position, our justice involved vet rep. It's a very important position. It's AB 109 funded, and it helps all of our veterans that are at risk, substance use disorder, or justice involved. I know I just put justice involved in there, but I can tell you, somebody works a lot in this community. A lot of them run together. They have all three, right? They're unhoused, substance use disorder, or a co-occurring disorder with severe mental health challenges, and they are justice involved. So our veteran that works that, Michael Shacker, he's amazing. He came to us as he doesn't mind me telling his story. As he came to us, he had gone through the veteran treatment court. He had been in a lot of trouble when he got out of the military, and he worked really hard, and he paid his dues, and he got a degree, and now he is really doing the Lord's work, helping a lot of underserved veterans. And then outreach. Outreach was non-existent when I started, other than the occasional event that we would kind of try and go to. Well, I found funding for an outreach coordinator, and we'll talk about that I think next. Oh, wait. Oh, we'll talk about that in a community outreach. We'll talk about the outreach coordinator. Any questions so far? Anybody want to ask any questions? Okay, we're moving right along. Great. All right, so service-connected benefits. So the VA has a plethora of benefits, and a lot of people, even me, are confused about what benefits lie where. So the VA is not just one big monolith. It's actually three big monoliths. They have the benefits silo, and I hate to use the word silo, but it's kind of truly what it is. They have the benefits silo, they have the medical silo, and then they have the burial silo, right? So they have three different agencies all working within the Department of Veteran Affairs, and they don't all work well together. So I work on the benefits side. Specifically, our biggest thing is service-connected compensation. So it's a disability compensation in a benefit paid to a veteran because of injuries or diseases that happen while on active duty, or made worse by active military service. 100% service-connected veteran will receive about $3,700. Well, not about. They will receive $3,737.85 tax-free a month. Now, that increases if you have dependents, a spouse and children. It goes up considerably. So your kind of standard married veteran with a spouse and 2 children, you can expect to get about $4,500 a month tax-free, which I don't think anybody on this call or in this room or on these streets would say that $4,500 a month tax-free is not life-changing money, because it certainly is, living on the Central Coast. Something else we do a lot of is VA pension. So pension is a needs-based program with wartime veterans who are age 65 or older, or have a permanent and total non-service connected disability, who have limited income or net worth, right? So it's means-based. It's similar to going on Social Security disability, The difference is they push veterans towards this program instead of Social Security disability because it comes out of a different pot of money through the VA. It is not all that much money, but it really does help out some veterans that need it. With that, there's other programs like special monthly compensation or aid in attendance. So that will provide you with some additional benefit if you're housebound. And it's about $2,300 a month tax-free. We have survivor benefits that we work on. So in the unfortunate case when a veteran does pass on, there is a burial and plot interment allowance. It's a $2,000 allowance that'll assist with interment. They'll intern a veteran at a VA National Cemetery or a private plot with a headstone and flag. There's dependency and indemnity compensation. So if your veteran passes away too soon due to a condition that is related to their service, their spouse or surviving child will receive an apportionment of that monthly compensation. And then there's survivor's pension, which is essentially the same thing as a regular pension that I just spoke about, except it's after the veteran passed, and that pension will then go to the deceased veteran's spouse. They're all income-based, and it's hard for a lot of people around here to get these pensions because if you're 100% service connected, you're over income. So, I mean, we do get some, but these programs are massive in other parts of the country where pay and stuff is a lot lower. So education benefits, this is a huge one. This slide doesn't do it justice. There's a few different programs. We'll just touch on the main one. So we have our GI Bill, our Chapter 30, college and non-college degrees, technical or vocational school. They provide on-the-job training and apprenticeship programs. I've even heard of some guys getting their pilot's license from it. So that's pretty cool. BR&E is a great program. That's actually the program that I used to obtain my master's degree in public policy from Cal Poly. When I got out of the military, I was double major in history and political science. I'm sorry to any history and political science majors out there, but good luck getting a job that is the same as being a captain in the Army when you get out. It's just not possible, right? So you go from making well north of six figures to not that much money really quick when you get out of the military. So trying to find employment that is near to where you left the service often requires more education, even as somebody who was a captain getting out of the military. So there's also the college fee waiver program. Man, if you're a veteran and you have children and you haven't utilized this specific program, I really feel sorry for you. You just have to be 0% service connected. Anybody that is in the military, like we can find almost the 0% service connection because almost everybody gets hurt, has the loss of hearing, tinnitus. It's not difficult to get people at a 0%. Now, we're not just going to try to get you a fraudulent 0%. We don't do that. We get you the benefits you earn, but we can usually find a 0% for anybody. So what the college fee waiver program does is any state, community college, or UC California school, your child will get to go to school for free, which is anybody that's had to pay for school in California, it's not cheap. So that's it doesn't cover some of the administrative fees that colleges have now, but it does cover the majority of the benefits. And then that can also be tacked on. There's a couple of different ways you can work these programs to coincide, but if you do have questions on education benefits or any of these benefits, please feel free to reach out to me directly. The contact information will be on there. I will put you in contact with one of our senior veteran services representative, and she will get you straight. So please do that. So we do have additional benefits. So if you need a disability placard as a veteran, or you want veteran designated on your driver's license, you need to come through our office for that. We'll be more than happy to do that. We'll help you enroll in VA healthcare. And if you are looking to go to work for the county, you would want to come through our office and apply for veterans preference points. So there's a preference scale. It's based off of time and like your service connected disabilities and whatnot. And it will get you your first interview. And that's it. As somebody that has had many interviews at the county before I took this job, you get that first one and that's it. But hey, at least you get your foot in the door, and from there you got to prove yourself. And I don't know of a veteran, at least that works at the county, that is or was looking for a free lunch, right? We want the opportunity because our resumes are odd, right? If I really haven't changed my resume like every resume builder tells you to, like, hey, scrub all the military stuff. I've kept a lot of it in, and I don't care. I still get hired. I had 2 other positions at the county before I was in this position. I was a administrative services officer out at the jail medical clinic, which was crazy. It's totally not something I ever thought I would do. It was after the unfortunate incidents of the Andrew Holling case. They brought on Dr. Mulcair, and they basically brought on a new team. I was part of that team. A year later, they made that private, so I had to help with that transition. And then after that, I became a program manager at adult drug court. So I've had to apply for or interview for all those positions and others. And I'm not looking for anything for free, but I just want a chance to prove myself. So that is nice to have that. Okay, so veteran business development. So I do not want to pretend that I'm an expert in veteran business development. I know I'm saying that in front of the Cal Poly Small Business Development Center, but that is not these really aren't programs that we work in. That being said, if anybody wants to have a conversation about how to develop their business as a veteran, let's talk and let's see where I can, I'm very good at looking through different lenses and trying to see what connections you could possibly make to enhancing your business. Most of you probably already know this information if you're a veteran. I would hope so. There's the Veteran Business Outreach Center is in Clovis. The information is up there. And then there's one up in Sacramento as well. I believe the Clovis office comes out. I've seen them come out and speak before, but their information's on there. And then there's the California Development and General Services. So that's how you can get certified as a small business, as a disabled veteran enterprise. And then there's the Center for Verification and Evaluation Enterprise Portal. That registers your VA, your small business with the VA, so that you're searchable as a small business. These are all hyperlinked too, so if you get the slide deck, you can just pop them in. Some of them are kind of long, so I embedded them in the thing. But that bottom one, the Center for Verification and Evaluation Enterprise web portal, that's important. I would, if I was a business owner, I would absolutely, try and do that. And then obviously, if you want to get into any kind of government contracting, as a veteran, which I highly recommend, it's actually something that my wife and I are thinking about if and when we decide to step away from our current roles, is to move into some sort of contracting. I happen to be a disabled veteran, but my wife is a disabled veteran who was in fact, a religious refugee from Iran. So she kind of hits all the benchmarks for preference points for contracting. So it would make sense that we move into that world at some point, once this work here is done. And then there's the Small Business Development Center. So I talked to a couple of people, and I went on and I researched these. I didn't think there was a lot of information on these websites that y'all probably didn't know. The only ones being maybe the Center for Verification and Evaluation, but absolutely reach out to them. And then if you want to talk about, just talk. I have a lot of coffee with people, and we just rap about, how we can make things better. I never have all the answers, but I usually have 1 or 2 in there. So this is my favorite thing. Oh, why did those end up so small? That's strange. I messed up this slide. Okay, so I'm sorry for the small print. I promise it was larger. So outreach is a big deal to us. It's a big deal to me. I grew up in the Wasna Valley outside of Arroyo Grande. I'm a rural farm kid. And so I believe in meeting our veterans where they're at. I hated coming into San Luis when I was not because I hate San Luis, you know, it's just oh, you got to come into the big city. I know it's San Luis. This is a young Morgan Boyd, okay, before I went out and lived all over the world. But that mentality is still very much there. Veterans don't want to come to San Luis. They want to stay in their area. So we got to get out and meet our veterans. So I applied for a Mental Health Services Act grant this last Christmas, ended up getting it, hiring on our outreach coordinator, Miss Kendra Scott, and she's been off to the races. You can see just in our first quarter of this grant, so from July to when I pulled these numbers, she's attended 3 months, right? 33 outreach events with 1,878 veterans engaged. We've hosted 3 veteran resource fairs. And those veteran resource fairs, you can see in the pictures, we usually have anywhere from 25 to 40 community collaborators. Everybody from the VA all the way down to just your local nonprofit that's just looking to get their feet off the ground. It's an amazing place for them to come and engage with other community members that really want to take care of veterans and their families. You see in the picture down there, I was approached probably a year into my position to bring back the Wall That Heals, which is the 3/4 scale replica of the Vietnam Veteran Memorial Wall. The Vietnam Veteran, the local Vietnam Veteran Association had asked me to do that. And when I looked, I saw you can only apply once. And this county had already brought it. They said in the rules that there was a possibility, but it's never happened before. Well, I made a really compelling case in our application, and we were granted the great honor of being the first community in the United States that this wall has come back to twice. When it happened, it was right in the middle of the worst rainstorms we'd ever had. I don't know if anybody happened to go to that wall, but it was very fitting because it was as muddy as Vietnam, and it was insane. So we ended up having to build a walkway in an afternoon with pallets and plywood so that people could walk. And we just had the community come up and really help support that event. We ended up seeing having over 12,000 visitors, even with all that rain, which the event coordinators said was the biggest of the year, which I'm extremely proud of. And that is completely outside of what we do on a normal basis. So the collaboration that we were able to pull together in the community kind of was a driver to me saying, like, we need an outreach coordinator to get out in the community. For instance, next week, we're going to be doing outreach event at Diablo. It'll be us and like 15 other providers. We'll go and see how we can support our veterans out there. And let's see. Oh, some more community engagement. So we sit on, or there's a couple of us, I sit on most of these, but these are boards that we sit on throughout the community. Again, way outside of what we would normally do. One thing I wanted to say that when I got hired, I told at the time Wade Horton, the county administrative officer, and the hiring committee, I know what this job entails, right? I need to go apply for benefits for veterans. We're going to do that well. But if you're going to hire me, I will not just sit there and file benefits. We're going to try and create the healthiest and most resilient veteran community in the United States. And although we're small, we have significantly less resources than anybody else. I think we're doing a really good job. So we sit on the Community Corrections Partnership Board. That's what funds our AB 109 veteran vet rep. We sit on the County Veteran Behavioral Health Board. Well, Veteran Behavioral Health. We sit on the County Behavioral Health Board, and we participate in the SLO County Suicide Prevention Council. We sit on a bi-weekly community partners by name list meeting. That's a bunch of community partners that literally look at every single unhoused veteran that we have identified, and we look at where they're at in the system, try and get them housed. It's a little secret. I thought it was going to happen last year. I'll say it because I'm hoping it'll come to fruition. I'll will it into existence. We're going to be the first county to get and hold functional zero for veteran homelessness in this state. And we just missed it this last year. So I'm hopeful that it'll happen this year because that is a tremendous honor for a community that has limited resources. I'll just put it that way. We work a lot with our San Luis Obispo Vet Center. We help them out with their veteran therapeutic gardening group. And then also we help stand up a veteran therapeutic archery group as well, which I'm there every event. I drank the Kool-Aid. If anybody wants to get into archery and you're veteran, come talk to me. I would love to get you out there. It is next to surfing, which is kind of hard for me to do because I can go shoot in my backyard. It's one of the best activities for just to get some good release. You can't think about anything else, and that's the best part of it. Same with Operation Surf. Those are some of our community partners on there. So I'm a big outdoorsman. I'm with Heroes on the Water. I'm a fishing guide for them. I do a lot of kayak fishing. Anglers Anonymous is the other fishing group that I've supported and we support. They take veterans and their family members out fishing on the big party boats. And then Operation Surf. If you're a veteran, you don't know in this community, you don't know about Operation Surf yet. I mean, please, these guys are amazing. Van Krazen and his wife Amanda have been running this program for a long time. Myself, my wife, and my brother, I kind of buried the lead that I went to basic training with my brother. We deployed to Iraq together, both in the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment. But we're all graduates of their 6-month surf program, and they do amazing work. You'll see that little food pantry up there. That little food pantry, a few years ago, I had California Men's Colony, the veterans out there, did a food drive, and they had 450 pounds of food. And they came to me and said, Morgan, like, we have this food. Will you give it out to the community? And I'm like, I don't know what to do with like 450 pounds of food. I don't know who or what or how, but somebody was like, hey, there's an old food pantry that has been destroyed and defaced. You can have it. So I took it home, I rehabbed it, repainted it. And now we give out hundreds of pounds of food a week. And that there's a little plaque on there that's dedicated to the men of California Men's Colony for starting this initiative, because we really feed a lot of members of the community. It's all driven through donations, and nothing makes me happier to see a veteran who comes in looking like down in the dumps or like they're not supported. And by the time they're done with us, they're smiling, because we're not here to cast any judgment on them. We just want to support them and hope that someday they can reintegrate and become contributing members to our community. Oh man, okay, I'm going fast. All right, so let's see, what other community stuff do we do? We do a ton of community outreach. So we do resource fairs pretty much. We host resource fairs every other month, more or less. We try to do it monthly. We're doing the first of its kind in December. We're doing a senior veteran resource fair, and we're hoping that we're engaging with the local senior living facilities, assisted care facilities to bus their veterans to our location where we can honor them and celebrate them, but also provide them with some resources. We're really excited about that event. Let's see. All right, I'll go into my leadership philosophy real quick. I hate talking about leadership because I have gone through all the courses, right? I've done so many of them. Most of them, I get a little bit out of, but there is no learning that can be done like leading soldiers in combat for a year. And so that's kind of how I built my philosophy. First off, this is how we run our office. We are servants to the community, bar none. Your politics don't matter. None of the others matter, right? You can think about what that means. If you're a veteran, you have a DD-214, it doesn't even matter if you have bad paper, meaning you got kicked out of the military. We're here to support you. So we're here to serve our community, and that's it, full stop. Like, we will support you the best that we can. And the team really resonates with that. You notice I say team a lot. A lot of people throw that around, but I also like to hear a lot of people when they talk about leadership, they're like, oh, but we're a family. I don't believe in leading a family, right? Because families divorce, families don't talk to each other. Teams, if you want to be effective, you have to work together, you have to communicate, you have to have an objective, and you have to work hard to meet that objective. And so my team, our team, they have really bought into that. and we've done great work since then. So if anybody was in the military, everybody has core values. It's a standard thing, right? So I really drank the Kool-Aid on this. They're really good guiding principles. Do I live them every single day? No, I would be lying to you if I did. But I really try and live these Army core values. And so the acronym is leadership. It's loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. I try and embody those at all times professionally. Obviously, they're changed a little bit. I'm not facing fear and danger, but I'm facing a ton of adversity. And I have had some challenging interactions with veterans so I guess the danger is there a little bit as well. And then my last leadership philosophy is simple. It's that you eat last. And that doesn't just mean you in the military, you go to the end of the chow hall, which it definitely means that if you're a good leader, but it means that you put your team and your mission in front of you all the time. My team knows that this is something that I say all the time. We put those that we serve in front of ourselves, and we eat last. And because of that, we are full. We're full spiritually. We're full. I mean, all of our team, they seem to really be happy in their lives, even given their challenges. I had our senior veteran services representative, Miss Yvette Mason. I'll brag on her for a little bit. Again, she's been doing this for 35 years. She knows more than probably any other veteran services representative in the country. I would love to maybe do some like pit betting or something one day and like put other reps together. And yeah, she's so good that the state, our state association has their service award named in her honor. She threw her back out on Friday. She came into work Monday. I didn't know she was standing, and I was like, what's going on? You know, and she just started bawling. She was in so much pain. She just wanted to be there for her clients. And like, you know, we ended up getting her home and just like letting her know, like, look, we're here to take care of you. We cover down on each other. When I get sick, most of our office is veterans. Veterans absolutely have a higher propensity to be out of the office more because of a whole host of conditions, challenges they face in their life. And we understand that in our office because I get hurt and I have to go out. So we're really accommodating to a work-life balance. I will never, ever, ever sweat one of my teammates for coming in at 8:15 or 8:20. Why? Like, why are you going to go ruin their day by setting them down and being like, you really need to be here at 8? You're getting your job done. Your work is completed. Your clients are happy. Your office is clean. What do I have to complain about? I'm not here to micromanage the team. Now, that's not to say that doesn't get taken advantage of at times, because you all know that when you give employees a long rope, some of them take advantage of that. And that's okay. We easily course correct those issues as well. And I think that's it. That's my contact information. Again, I'm sure the slides will be out. Any questions? Yes. Oh, the speaker, that's right.
So going back a little bit to the business outreach, my company deals with solar. So it's like a green industry.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly looking for like government money to help us fund some research and development to make some new tools. And I'm wondering, does adding the veteran-owned company benefit, like give me any kind of
for government contracting?
Well, for government, not so much contracting, but I want grant money. I want free money from the government to help us develop like a product or something.
So I don't know much about, I couldn't speak to business grants, but the grants that like we apply for, they're nonprofit grants mostly, or government grants, through a county. and we sub some of that stuff out. Now, I'm not saying that there's not money out there for like business development funding, but I wouldn't be, I'm not a subject matter expert on it, but like there's the government might actually be looking for somebody to study that, right? So you're not necessarily looking for a grant, you're looking for a contract to do that work.
Yeah.
Not so much a grant. So you might pursue it that way, because the government's contracting, I mean, we've got all kinds of, yeah.
Okay.
I do. There's a firm that I'm getting ready to apply to as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, you as well. We golfed together at the Operation Surf event a few months ago. So
It's called Hivers and Strivers.
Are you gonna write it down for me?
Yeah, I'll give you my card.
Thank you.
Because, there might be some ways we can work together.
Okay. Great, networking.
yeah, it's the way to do it.
And I know, have you heard of Black Rifle Coffee Company?
Yes.
Okay, they got funding from them as well.
Oh,
So I know this is legit. It's just basically supplying a business plan.
thank you. Okay.
And, I don't know.
That's
if they're
great.
gonna get it.
Yeah,
That was part of the reason why I came.
Sure.
Also talking here.
yeah,
But I do understand that it won't necessarily be free,
Yeah.
so they'll have percentage points, like. But the thing I believe, and I don't know yet, but the thing I believe does the advantage of working with organizations like that, you won't lose the sovereignty of your company. So it's not like, in a sense, where someone's gonna go in and say, okay, we're gonna give you X amount of dollars, but now I need to put 2 members on your board, and now I need to put somebody else in your C-suite. It could just be one of those things where it's like, hey, this is the loan, and we take 1 to say 5% of your ownership of your company as a
Yeah.
stakeholder, and so there could be some of that. As far as the research grants, I know they are out there.
Yeah.
There is the CHIPS initiative
Mhm.
that works with Silicon. And there may be some technology, grants within that program as well, that's going on through the state, and there's also the telecommunications, but it also could work into what you're doing with energy. It's BEAD funding. The BEAD funding is to help disadvantaged communities get access to services and infrastructure. So solar could be part of that as well. But I do know if you're looking for a loan per se, Hivers and Strivers, I'm literally getting ready to apply to them this
Cool.
week. We just finished up our business.
That's
plan.
great.
So,
yeah,
yeah, but I'm also very curious about some different opportunities and leveraging our statuses as being veterans.
Yeah,
And being
exactly.
able to at least get some attention.
Exactly.
there are opportunities out there for sure, and something that we've been actually talking about internally in our office is hosting a veterans business fair, basically, like, but invite the whole community, like whether you just want to go hire, you want to go promote what your service is, or you just want to, go collaborate. We'll probably hold something next year like that. So if there's interest, especially if it's something really okay, because we'd make it big, and we'd make sure that, hopefully congressional representation is here, and supervisors and stuff like that. So, because it's really important that we're showing our leadership that this veteran community is here, and that we're resilient, and that we're getting after it, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's,
And it's
Yeah.
pretty difficult, like for businesses like ours, because I say it all the time, it's not like opening a coffee shop
right.
or a salon or like a bakery. Like when you're talking about stuff like dealing with tech, it's a whole different world. And so it's hard to say, like, I've seen plenty of grants and loans like, hey, if you have something to do with an app, or you have something to do like,
Yeah.
that's true, but it's not really gonna move the needle. Like that $5,000 or 10 grand isn't gonna do much for entities like ours. Like, yeah, it helps,
Yeah,
but it's not really gonna say, I can't bring on an engineer now.
right.
It's not gonna provide that.
Right.
So that's why I said Hither, Hives and Strivers might be,
Okay.
that might be a way to go.
Awesome. I
Well,
guess, yeah. Yeah, fun fact, my wife's nephew is finishing up his PhD in AI from
really?
Toronto University. He was just down here for a month. He'd never been to California, And I think we have a convert. He wants to find a way to move here, you know, but
Yeah.
yeah, so maybe you should have he's yeah, way above me in terms of like,
Yeah,
you know,
my engineer around that.
yeah, I'm not, that's not, that's not my thing. I talk, that's about it.